Greetings, cinephiles. Are you looking for a movie analysis podcast that stands above the rest? Then look no further than Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters.
We analyze good movies, we analyze bad movies, and yes, we also analyze the in-betweens of the world of cinema.
So if you like what you hear, find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts.
And yes, my friends, we are 420 friendly. So when you listen to us, smoke it if you've got it. And now, here's a new episode of Collateral Gaming. The show starts right now.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
And I'm Sam Jones.
This is Collateral Gaming. Welcome to Collateral Gaming, the only video game podcast that matters, where we focus on good games, bad games, and everything else in between in the world of gaming. We are podcasting straight from Houston, Texas, and yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast, so whatever you have, be it blunts, bungs, or joints, smoke it if you've got it. And joining me for the very first time on this podcast today is my buddy Sam. What's going on, man?
Hey, Ashley. Great to be here.
Hell yeah, man. It's great to have you on. We met through work and hit it off pretty quickly. Found a mutual love of gaming.
Absolutely. You know, like everyone else, been gaming since I was young. It's just a lifestyle. It's a thing.
That's right. Gamers rise up.
Rise up.
And we have to embrace our full transition from gamers to racists, because that's just the natural progression of things, right?
It really is. You know, it's like anything else. It starts ironically, and then it becomes unironic before you know it. And you're like, damn.
But yeah, man, most of what we talk about, it seems to be about gaming, I think. So naturally, you know, I thought about maybe asking you to be on something for some time, and then Persona 3 Reload was coming out, and you're the only person that I know right now that was actually playing this game when it came out.
That's interesting to me because I know of so many people who are playing it. It seems like it's been such a... I mean, it was pretty significant release, I would say. Like when it came out, there wasn't a whole lot of other stuff. It kind of filled that void for a good, few days, I guess, in the news cycle now.
Right. But yeah, I'm actually kind of new to the Persona series myself. I've never played the original Persona 3. I did recently play Persona 5, Persona 5 Royal to be specific. Invested like 200 hours into that fucking game and did everything that there is to do and almost made a perfect run, except I didn't get that final bonus confidant scene with Haru. Which pissed me off to no end. So I'm trying to be a lot more efficient this time with, like the calendar strategy in Persona 3 Reload.
It's definitely a time sink of a game. Efficiency will definitely help you. Yeah, if you're new to the Persona series, I am, an infant to it. I was just born yesterday by comparison. I tried Persona 5. I kind of bounced off of it. Of course, I came to it for the style, stayed for the music, but then I don't know what it was about it. I bounced off of it. Maybe put 5 hours into it. But Persona 3, and the great thing about being a Game Pass guy on PC is for some reason, all the Persona games are on there. Like even this one, when it came out day one, it was like, well, fucking why not?
It's on fucking Game Pass. Like, there's no better fucking way to advertise this game than, like, you don't need to drop $70 on it. Of course, I did. I'm playing on PS5, but if you've got an Xbox or a PC, which should be roughly 2/3 of our listeners, then yeah, I mean, I would definitely recommend just at least giving this a shot. In my opinion, so far, I think I like Persona 5 a little bit more. And that might just be due to the way that the dungeons operate, because In Persona 5, you have Mementos, which is like the Tartarus of this game, which is your like central dungeon that you keep coming back to. But then Persona 5 also has these palaces, which are arguably the like more main dungeons of the game, and where like the actual like story comes into play. So I think the equivalent of that in this game are the full moon events, but they're like just boss battles.
Right.
Instead of being like full dungeons. So maybe that's why to me, like Persona 5, I might like it just a little bit more because of the bigger focus on dungeon gameplay, and not just like randomly generating floors, but actual like designed dungeons, which is nice. That being said, I'm having a hell of a time in Tartarus with Persona 3 Reload. I'm really getting into it. I mean, yeah, the floors are randomly generated, but I kind of just do the chunks all in one day now.
Yeah, that's how I've been going about it too. I think we're within the same month now. But I think you're quite a bit further than me. I mean, how many hours would you say you have? I have like 24 now or something.
Hard to say. I know I'm in July. I'm at the end of July now, coming into August.
I think I'm at like the beginning of July.
Yeah. And I just got past, like the beach trip, and Igus just joined my team. So that's where I'm at as far as the story goes. Of course, we're not going to go into spoilers. This is a game launch review, so we'll keep it spoiler free. I mean, obviously we haven't beat the game ourselves, so there are no spoilers really to really delve into yet.
Right. He can spoil me on a few things, but we won't spoil you.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, so far, as far as like the Tartarus gameplay goes, I'm really having a blast with it. I mean, I've actually spent hours grinding in Tartarus because, my strategy in Persona 5 was to continue in, each palace or my Mementos journey. I would just continue going and grinding until I ran out of SP. Well, in this game, I found that the navigator's theurgy skill randomly grants effects to the party. So, and one of those being SP regeneration. So it fills a little bit of your SP, and so it's almost like you can just keep going and going and going. And eventually I had to stop because I was like, I probably amassed enough gold now.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. Like I don't have a whole lot of experience with JRPGs in general. So I'm kind of coming at this like a guy who's played a lot of Pokemon in a way.
Okay.
I'm just like playing it. I'm like, it is sort of weird to me how you can just you can basically keep even if you don't have that power with the SP, you can still. I mean, you can knock out a whole chunk of Tartarus in one night without much difficulty. I mean, even to the like level I've gotten, which is just like I think 17, maybe 16, 17. And it's like if you have items, you can just use your items and keep going.
Yeah. In fact, that's actually part of the strategy. Is before a Tartarus run, what you want to do is stock up on SP items. And you'll notice that items that directly replenish SP are actually kind of rare in the game.
They're definitely rare.
They have a limited stock of them. You want to hit up the vending machines, actually. Those are a good source of SP items. And just stock up on as many as you can before you go in, and that way you can just continue to grind in Tartarus. And basically the only thing limiting you is your SP. Even then, you could just go on like the lower levels and just fight with regular.
True, yeah, just
melee.
Use your sword and shit. Yep, that's a good point.
If you go revisit the lower levels of Tartarus, the enemies actually run away from you because you're too far high level.
Man, if you wanted to, like, especially like if you're playing on PC, you could go to one of those like low levels but not too low, and you could just probably have an aimbot, like. Just like walk until it finds a shadow, hit that button that makes them just do the standard attack, and then just walk away.
Well, and I think that there is an auto battle command.
Yeah, the auto battle. Like I'll use that sometimes if it's like pretty weak, and you just know that it'll save you a few seconds. Just fast forwards through it.
Right, it just fast forwards and they all just hit attack, and so it's a good way to grind without having to think about it. Yeah, I like that they added mechanics from Persona 5 into this remake. Like they had the baton pass in Persona 5. Now that we have the shift mechanic, and I really felt like that's where like Persona really came into its own for me and established itself, is that there's just kind of a flow to combat. It's like, hit an enemy by exploiting their weakness, you get a one more, and then you can shift and pass it on, and you can just keep going, using different party members' various strengths and weaknesses to your advantage.
Very, very, very satisfying combat loop, yeah, and that's really what's kept me around with this game. I mean, the story is good and all, but it's, I don't know. For me, I've sort of grown tired of a lot of these high school stories. It's like, I don't know. That's just a personal thing with me. But the combat is, just that loop of, like, you find the new shadow, you're like, okay, what's the weakness? I got to figure it out. Like, at least I haven't figured out a way to, like, know beforehand when you see a new shadow what its weakness is. So you just have to test shit.
That's Fuka's power.
Okay.
So, up until you get to that point, that is what you do, is you just test shit out. You just try. There's also kind of sometimes you just have to kind of think about it. Hey, this enemy is using fire attacks.
Right.
Maybe they're weak against ice.
Sometimes it works. It's not nearly as obvious as, like, Pokemon, though. Like, it's like you not got to look at what it's like. That's totally a water type. Like, it'll tell you in the screen even. No, it just kind of shows you a thing. It's hurting you certain attacks, and you got to figure it out that way.
Yeah, so what Fuka does when she joins her party is she becomes the navigator. So she's a passive party member. So, she serves the same role as Futaba in Persona 5, and that she actually isn't an active party member, but just is there to analyze enemies and grant occasional random effects and power up the team. But there's a skill in particular that once every member of the team has cycled through once, you can activate her power and you can fully analyze the enemy.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. In Persona 5, Futaba would do that, but it was random. It just happened randomly. And this one, you can actually trigger it, but you have to go through a round of combat. But what I found is that sometimes when you're in that first round, you can quickly figure out one of the enemy's weaknesses by just testing shit.
Usually, yeah. Like, sometimes you get unlucky and you just, like, you pick everyone but the right one. I mean, I know I've done that a few times. Because some of these monsters, you're like, what the fuck is that thing?
I know. I mean, I haven't even gotten to the Dick Chariot yet.
Oh, shit.
Have you seen that one?
I've not seen it.
I forget what it's fucking called, but that's what it fucking looks like. And it's actually a recurring enemy in the series.
I was wondering how many of these monsters are recurring in the series.
Mara. But most of them are recurring.
I figured.
But I guess it's kind of like Pokemon, where it's like every new entry they'll like add a few, and But like, I think like the majority of them are all carries over, not just from Persona, but from Megami Tensei.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's it. Are they in the same universe?
I'm not sure if Shin Megami Tensei and Persona are in the same universe, and then there's all those other Megami Tensei sub-franchises too, so it's hard to say. All the Persona games I know take place in the same universe because they reference each other.
Oh, do they? That's cool.
Yeah. So, the Dick Chariot.
Nice.
Mara. Yeah, so I'm expecting that one to pop up. I mean, I'm assuming it does. That's one of the more recurring ones. Let's see, we'll find out. Yeah, it's in it's in Persona 3 FES and Persona 3 Portable, which means it's not a guarantee to make it into Reload, because Reload apparently did not do the decided to remake the actual core Persona 3 and not any of the other re-releases.
Ah, okay. Because I'm sure they changed it a bit in each release.
Yeah. But that being said, I believe that there were some mechanics that were brought over, like quality of life improvements, obviously. And they seem to have done that very well. This game, as somebody coming from Persona 5, plays with that same modern standard. And it's honestly a lot of fun. But you also kind of have to be, I think, a certain type of gamer to enjoy it.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
It's one of those things that's like, it's like Death Stranding. It's like some people are gonna like it.
Yeah, and some people will just think it's the weirdest thing, and why are you wasting all your time with this?
Honestly, people don't talk about it, but Red Dead Redemption, or especially Red Dead 2, is that way as well. It's not a game that's for everybody. If you're not patient,
Oh yeah.
you're not really going to enjoy it. And yet that game is still like universally lauded. But the Persona series kind of really hit the mainstream recently.
Yeah, I mean, since Persona 5, it's become a very, people know about it.
It overtook Shin Megami Tensei in terms of like how well known it was. And so it's turning into, kind of a niche JRPG into the mainstream one. And I'm happy to see that. Releasing Persona 3 Reload on Game Pass is a fantastic choice too, because, it allows more people to just be like, oh, what the fuck it,
Right. And for and they probably know that, like, okay, what do people know about our games? They're stylish, they have good music, they're long as fucking hell. You'll spend your whole life before you beat it. So it's like, they know a lot of people are curious about it, but aren't going to want to, spend the money and then be like, okay, this isn't for me after 20 hours.
Yeah. Like, once you put enough hours in,
40 or 50 left. I mean, yeah, I looked it up. Like the quickest, like if you don't take your time, if you're rushing through it, 60 hours. That's what this game is.
Yeah, that sounds about right. If you're just completely rushing it, I think that I did pull up the network thing one time to view like activities that players had done, and actually a staggering high number of them just slept through the day or the evening. Yeah. So I'm assuming, like, if you're just sleeping through every day and evening and not doing any activities because you just want to get to the combat, you just want to get to the JRPG stuff.
Oh, okay.
That's a way to play it. You could just completely ignore all the social stuff, because what are you going to miss out on? Social links?
That's it, right?
Social stat boosts. There are a few things you can do during the social section that will, obviously you want to buy items and shit and equipment.
Right.
And there's a few like things that you can do to increase like your battle stats. But most of the daily activities, I mean, as far as the way I play it, is I focus mainly on the social links and social stat upgrades.
Same. Yeah, that's especially when, like, I was kind of slowly just increasing all the stats. Like I was up to level 2 in every stat, and then the whole exam arc happens. And I'm like, oh,
you got to up your knowledge before the exam.
So I tried to get my academics to 3. I didn't quite get it to 3.
Academics, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
I was doing the same thing. I was struggling to get it up to 3, I think. And then I found that with the first exam, the midterm, it actually was fine with 2.
Yeah, like you still get in the top 10.
I still was in the top 10, yeah. So I was surprised, because I think in Persona 5, the first exam I scored very average on. And it was kind of the same story there. But with this one, yeah. And then with the final exam, I actually scored at the top of my grade. And I have I did that at level 4 academics. Now I have level 5.
Nice.
But it kind of just becomes sort of a grind, and you just kind of get into it and you just kind of strategize. And that really appeals to me. It's just trying to figure out the best of what you can do each day, which social links are available, who do you want to upgrade. And there's some elements there, like, do I want to romance this girl? So I want to pick up any time that she offers. And then you have people that'll send you messages and offer to hang out, and that kind of gives you a good, direction of where to go. It's just like, yeah, I really love the whole like planning aspect of it as you go through each day of the calendar.
It is definitely, like, once you get into it, and yeah, like the fact that they add the activities on the phone like that is really, really, really nice. Like if I had to remember, like, okay, I can go to this place on the map. Like I wonder if it was like that before, where that's, you just had to know
I think
somewhere on the map you can go to and do a thing.
I remember the phone stuff in Persona 5. I think that might have been added to the remake, and that wasn't in the original. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it really makes going through all the social stuff nice. And yeah, like the grind of it is really fun. You you only have certain things you can do each day, and you have to do. Because at least for me, like I've you know, like you have all these social links for all these different types of monsters, right? And like I have some that I like currently, but I'm like, I mean, maybe I'll find. I mean, I have no idea what else is out there. So like, there could be something way cooler I get later, but you know, I could have been social linking that type, whoever that is. So it's kind of, I don't know. I just end up doing the ones for people that I like, just for whatever reason. Like I did the old people a lot.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
that's the way that I play it. I just do the ones that I like because, I mean, they're all gonna help you in some way.
Right.
And really, like I said, you know, when it comes to the social aspect of this game, it almost is just kind of its own part of the game. It's its own partition. But I did notice that there wasn't as much effect as, say, in like Persona 5. In Persona 5, as you upgraded through Confidant ranks, you actually got like active like boosts in combat, like actual abilities and things that you could do, or passive effects. And this game doesn't have that with the rank upgrades. It's just kind of, I think the whole point is just to continue boosting it so you can summon better personas, and then to max it out so you can summon whatever like ultimate persona of that arcana it gives you.
Okay, yeah. I was actually wondering what the real purpose, because I mean, the only thing it really tells you is that when you get a new persona of that type, then they get like a couple levels up, or you know, however many ranks you have.
Yeah, it
social
boosts
link.
it boosts its level ups, which adds abilities onto that persona and makes it more useful. And then you
Yeah.
can pass those abilities on
Right.
to other personas. And
Right.
there's just this, the whole like fusion mechanic, which is a core mechanic of, I think, at least Persona 3 on. It's a lot of fun to just
It
get
is.
into. And I find that you don't have to really take it too seriously, but, you know, just make sure that you have like every element or attack type available, and that, you know, you give yourself different skills, because like with your protagonists, you can kind of make them whatever you want to be
Right.
as far as
Right.
like party role.
It made me want to, and I guess this is kind of like, this is a real limiting factor in the game for me. Like when I compare it to like Pokemon, like you can't change your persona in the battle. At least I haven't found a way yet.
In the middle of the battle, yeah, you can. You just, when you hit persona, and then you can hit on PS5, it's L1 and R1.
Oh, and you can switch between all your personas.
And you can switch. Yeah, they teach you that in the tutorial. You can switch to other personas. Wait, you
Wow.
thought you were just locked to
I
the
thought
one
you just pick the one in the menu, then you start the battle. That's what the one you got.
Oh, that would be terrible,
That's
man.
what I've been doing this whole time.
No, because that's what makes the protagonist so powerful, is that they can just change like what elements they're weak against.
That
Whatever
makes so much
persona
sense.
you used last, it is where you stand in terms of stats and as far as like weaknesses go. So it there's a little bit of strategy involved with that, but more so, you know, you can kind of just flip between things. And did you get to the theurgy skills yet?
The what skills?
The theurgy?
I don't think so.
Oh, no, you didn't, because that comes with the new C's uniforms. So that was something that was added to the remake, is the theurgy skills. Each character has like a special ability that they can fill up as a gauge fills up, and it doesn't cost any HP or SP. And it's some like massive attack that either hits all of the enemies or a single enemy. But each one powers up in a different way. Basically like kind of matching that character's archetype. So Yukari's theurgy skill, her gauge fills up as she heals party members.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Akihiko's his gauge fills up as he gets status buffs. And the protagonist's builds up as he summons different personas in combat.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's actually kind of cool. So each character all really starts filling their roles even a little bit better, and like having these archetypes. And so you can kind of plan it out and decide like how you want to approach combat that way based on your party loadout. But unlike Persona 5, you can't change your party loadout anytime. You can only do that at the entrance.
Right. But it's you got the teleporters everywhere. You can pretty
Yeah.
much just...
You can zip around easily. You just go up a few levels and you've got another teleporter.
Yep.
It's not too hard. And the sections of Tartarus are chunked off really well. So it's like you never go too long without a save point. Maybe as we get into the later game, that might change. And it might, because I remember in Persona 5 with Mementos, that was the case.
Really?
Like the gaps between save points was getting, got higher and higher and higher. So I'm expecting that there's going to be some runs that, if like you're not managing your resources or your stats correctly, you can really find yourself in a bind and have to redo huge sections over again.
I mean, how much time did you spend on like a single run before you got to a save point?
Before I got to a save point?
Like a largest amount of time. Was like an hour?
No, I don't think I've gone that far. Maybe like 15 minutes.
Okay.
But I mean, I've gotten up to the highest level of Tartarus. Like I go into Tartarus like right away, and I try to get that out of the way as soon as possible. And because if there's anything I learned from my run of Persona 5, it's that it's better to get the dungeon stuff out of the way because it actually opens up the social links.
Right.
I don't know if Persona 3 operates that way, but I'm kind of expecting it to. And anyway, that's what I want to get to. Like I'm anxious to get to the combat, and the dungeon gameplay and getting through Tartarus because I feel like that's, the most fun part of the game. That's what you're coming for, the action.
Pretty much. Yeah. The other stuff is cool and all, but it wouldn't be the same without the effect on the actual combat.
Yeah. Maybe that's why Persona works, though, is the way it paces itself that way. And then, like I said, you kind of have to strategize each month and figure out like what you want to do, and the story progresses with each full moon, basically. So you kind of just plan plan around it.
So you want to get as powerful as you can, get the right stats up.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoy that. That's the core JRPG experience for me.
Yeah. It's definitely a JRPG. You can't deny it that.
Definitely. But yeah, man. And we talked about the music earlier, but I want to get into it more because like it's such a fucking banger. All Persona music is really fucking good.
The music is 10 out of 10 video game music. I don't know how anyone could debate that.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It's so fucking good. Both the original tracks are bangers and the newly orchestrated ones are, and it's kind of hard to tell what's what. They all sort of fit the same aesthetic.
Right. It's just like that jazzy, poppy.
Yeah.
I don't know what genre you would call it, honestly.
It's a different aesthetic than Persona 5,
It is.
I noticed.
It is. Like it's somewhat, I don't know. Like it gives off the same energies, but yeah.
The same energy, but it's a little bit different. Yeah, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it, man. It's good. Every time that I open up the game, I have to watch through the opening scene because it's so good.
Yeah. The opening scene. I mean, all those anime cutscenes, like we were talking about, they're very clean, really well done.
Oh yeah,
man, they're a treat.
They're fucking crisp, dude. Like this, the animation quality is top tier. And I recently played through the Apollo Justice Ace Attorney trilogy, a couple games of which have anime cutscenes like this, and they weren't nearly as good. Like I to my understanding, they redid all of the anime cutscenes, and they even turned some of them into fully 3D cutscenes.
Yeah.
But the anime cutscenes in particular are really, really good. That's top tier animation. I don't know how closely they work with the team that does the actual anime adaptations, or if there's any synergy at all there.
Yeah, that was a question we had. Like, are there people at these game companies that are? I mean, I guess anime these days is probably made on like a tablet, digitally. I would assume. I don't know. I don't know how these new. I've never really looked into it, but like, there's people at these game companies who are actually doing that, making this animations, or are they contracting it out to your anime studio?
That's a great question, and I don't know the answer. But they look phenomenal, and and like the music and everything, the whole presentation of it is absolutely sublime.
Very good. Yeah, the graphics are just pleasing.
Yeah.
It's it's not anything high fidelity. I mean, you could probably run it on, not a very new computer.
There wasn't even any like graphics settings, like
right. Yeah,
performance
there's not like a I don't think there is it's like there's a quality mode, performance mode. It's just nice and clean, and it all runs perfectly smooth. It's not like there's any hitching or I haven't seen a single visual glitch or anything.
Does it
like
run
that.
at 60?
On console, I don't know. I'm pretty sure for me it does. I haven't tested.
I have a shitty ass TV, so honestly, it's hard for me to tell. But
I mean, it's at least 60 hertz, right? Is it? Because I know, if you don't have like a 60 hertz TV, I thought they all were.
Yeah,
like you can't see the 60 frames.
I'm pretty sure it hits 60 frames. Just looking at it though.
Yeah, I've gotten to the point where I can sort of tell. I mean, really, I can really tell if it's below 30 frames. Then it's like immediately okay.
It's obvious, yeah.
Yeah.
Would you believe me if I said that a day consists of more than 24 hours?
That's the dark hour. A time period hidden between one day and the next.
What are you talking about? What happened to our school?
You saw them. Those creatures. We call them shadows. They only appear during the dark hour and attack anyone who roams free outside the coffins. Shadows can only be defeated by persona users. It's our job to defeat them. Pretty exciting, huh?
We've prepared an evoker for you. We'd like you to lend us your strength.
Come! Persona!
Let's do it.
But yeah, man, like the whole game is a jam, and like I unfortunately I've been swamped with a lot of games recently on the podcast. Between this, the Apollo Justice trilogy, The Witcher 3, Fable 1, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is coming out now. I've had a lot to do, so I haven't spent as much time in this game as I wanted to. But I took the last couple days to just kind of just play through it all day and just keep playing and you can really do that, and you can lose time to a Persona game. It sucks you in. Persona 5 did that to me.
Yeah, this definitely will suck you in if you let it. I had one of those days myself. I guess it was like last weekend. Yeah, if you want to, you can just kind of keep playing it. I mean, it really because every day is something different. Like you're just going through all these narratives with the social links and whatnot, and then before you know it, okay, cool, here's another story beat. And
it is a good game that you can also just play in chunks too. Like, it is really good at that. In fact, I know I have a friend, Dan, who's been on the podcast. He played Persona 5 every actual calendar day of the year. He played it in the real world. Wow. So we played through each calendar day of the year, every single day for a year.
So you play like 5 minutes a day?
It depends, right? Because like some days you would just do like a single like confident link, and then whatever you do in the evening, and then but then some days you would go through an entire palace. Right.
I'm sure that's cool though. Just do a little bit of it.
I'm kind of tempted to do that because, like, for instance, with this game, right, with Persona 3, after we've done recording this, I'm not really going to have as much reason to pick it up and to put a bunch of hours into it, right? But, like, I want to. But what I'm thinking of doing is maybe just playing it, like, a day at a time or something like that.
Yeah.
And that way, like, I get through this game somehow.
Right, yeah, just like in the game, you got to divide out your time.
Yeah.
Play what you need to get played. Yep, I see that.
Yeah, that could be interesting if I could keep up with it. Like I would definitely try doing like a calendar year playthrough. I don't know. Maybe I can just wait till July or August and pick it back up again like that, right?
Yeah, right.
And sync it up.
It is fun with the whole calendar aspect. I don't know of any other games that do it. Like, well, doesn't Fire Emblem sort of have that now?
Yes. Three Houses has like a calendar system. Like I played through Three Houses, and I think I enjoyed it for the same reason, that there is like this whole like calendar system.
Right.
Although it goes by a lot more quickly in Fire Emblem. It's just kind of like
It's not as much shit to do in a day.
yeah, and like you just like do like one thing, and like you can skip through. You'll skip through several days at a time. But with Persona, it's like every day is a thing. Like you wake up, you pick usually you pick just like an after school action and an evening action, right? But then it's like some mornings there's you'll get like a question in class in the morning or whatever, or there'll be like every once in a while, the story will progress, so you'll get like a cutscene or something.
Yep. It certainly keeps you engaged. Yeah, it's I don't know what else to say about this story.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like again, none of us have really gotten. I think you're probably at least halfway through it.
Well, because they're saying that there are these 12 shadows that I have to get through. I guess each representing an arcana. But and I actually have gotten 6 of those, so I guess I am halfway through. Unless there's more after I get through the 12 shadows, but supposedly that's going to end the Dark Hour. So
I'm sure there's some kind of post game, right?
I don't know. I know that this is just Persona 3, so they don't add like the later episodes and stuff. But maybe they'll add like an equivalent of that as like DLC or whatever. Like that would be cool. I think that the whole concept is cool. Like I like the fact that like all of the characters literally shoot themselves in the head to summon their personas. Like
it's definitely pretty unique. I heard that was the only reason this game's rated M, by the way.
Yeah, and there's a whole like disclaimer at the beginning that mentions like bullying, suicide.
Yeah.
And for what it's worth, like, yeah, if you're struggling and you need help, get help, like.
Yeah, for sure. But it's not like this game. I mean, at least I've heard this game was darker than the other Personas. Like, it's kind of the darkest Persona. That's what I always heard about this game. I haven't seen anything yet to make me go, oh, God. But
it
I don't know.
does feel pretty dark. I don't think it has a good ending either, from what I've heard, but I don't know.
Okay.
Or maybe like a bittersweet ending. I don't know. From what I've heard, it doesn't end on like a good note for everybody, at least. From I don't know, just the way people talk about it.
Right. Yeah, it has that reputation. So,
but yeah, it does seem pretty dark. I mean, like I said, like the whole like the fact they're not guns, they're evokers.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to, and then the fact that's how they activate the theurgy skills is that they load like a special cartridge into their evokers, and that's what enables them to do these like special abilities.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just like even more things to add to combat just to make it more fun, and kind of just play and try different things out. That's what I really enjoy about it. I love like just finding new personas, fusing them together,
right,
and trying out new things, new abilities and shit. And then once you get to like a boss fight,
the boss fights are definitely fun. Like those are those are really only times I feel challenged. At least so far, like most of the early levels, like especially once you figure out, like, oh, okay, if you hit him on the weak spot, with the weak attack, and especially if you do that for all of them, you just win, pretty much.
Yeah.
Once you do the all-out attack, at least as far as I've gone, like you can pretty much win with the small enemies.
That's the thing, though. Some enemies, and especially bosses, don't have weaknesses. And so the only way to actually trigger it down and trigger an all-out attack is to get a critical on them.
Yeah.
And Persona 5, they had technicals. And so you could just use status ailments in order to basically push enemies into down status. But this game doesn't seem to have an equivalent of that. But then again, the theurgy skills also really help you with that as well. Yeah, you just... like the really tough battles are the ones where there are no like exploitable weaknesses. And you just kind of have to find a way. At that point, it's basically just stat buffs or debuffing the enemy.
Yeah, you just got to whittle them down.
And for me, when I first started playing Persona, I was not using the support skills as much. So I kind of removed them at every opportunity where like I learned a new skill and I had to forget one. I would just drop the support abilities. It's like Pokemon, right? Like you drop the ones that aren't direct attacks.
Yeah. Who cares about increasing defense? Just hit them, take away his HP.
Yeah. So for me, like I would keep the offensive spells. I would keep the healing spells, obviously. But like, as far as like the stat buffs and stat debuffs, I don't need that. Well, no, in Persona you do. You want to keep a few of those on hand because
they can be useful for sure.
Yeah, and also just letting each character like fill the role that they're best equipped to. Like some characters are there basically to buff and debuff, and that's kind of their strength and what you want to use them for.
True. It was kind of like it took me a while to even realize that like, oh, so these moves they actually take away your own health. Like, it's not a lot of games have that, like, okay, a big part of it to do this attack is you have to, like, sacrifice your own health.
Yeah.
But you do a lot of damage a lot of times with those attacks.
Well, and it's using what characters are best equipped for that. Like, for instance, Junpei, who is easily the Ryuji of this game in both terms of character and combat archetype. Characters like that have higher health pools and better physical damage stats, and so they're better equipped to using those abilities. Like because they have higher health pools, they can launch, use the attacks that sacrifice health.
Right.
And then you just have a healer on standby. And the thing is like Yukari, for instance, having her as a healer is good because she actually grows her theurgy gauge by healing enemies. And so it's like, okay, so yeah, it actually works out. It's like a win-win situation. And you just give her big SP pools with equipment and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, they make it obvious. I mean, like, she doesn't even get... all she has is that one actual attack, like the gust, the wing attack. Mm-hmm. She has that for, like, the first 12 levels or something, it feels like. And that's, like, her only offense. So you're like, okay, well, yeah. She's supposed to just heal and apply buffs.
Yeah, she's mainly a healer. That being said, her magic stats are high, so the defensive spells that she does have do deal a lot of damage. But her character growth is more centered around her being a healer and a supporting member. But then, like Akihiko has a lot of skills that pop up that make him an excellent character to buff and debuff, because his theurgy skill is actually buffing himself.
Right.
So each character has like this like special attack that basically kind of encourages you to play them the ways that fit their strengths. And I thought that really appealed to me. That's where like I really started getting into the combat.
Sure. Yeah, it's definitely got a real... I mean, for turn-based combat, I mean, a lot of people will hear turn-based combat and go, oh my god, that sounds so boring.
I don't know. I've also seen the other side of that fence that like hates that all like modern Final Fantasy games are action RPGs now.
Yeah, I mean, definitely there's others who like, definitely love turn-based combat. But this turn-based combat, I mean, it doesn't feel... like, it's just the snappiness of the animations, how fast, it's not like in old school Pokemon you would hit okay, and like you have won the battle, you have gained whatever, and that's like 1 second between each message, you got to click through before you get back to the actual overworld. No, it is like boom, 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 turn, if you want to, you can make it go extremely fast, but you can kind of tailor it to just as fast as you want it to be, or slow as you want it to be, because it's still turn-based. You could sit there and, ponder as long as you want. But
yeah,
it just has a really fast flow to it that, I don't know, it's really well done.
I 100% agree, man. I the flow of combat is just really, really appealing. that's where Persona shines. And like you said, giving you the opportunity to think strategically and take as much time as you need, but still feel fast.
Yeah.
And that's something that the modern RPG, has to strive to do. One game in particular that does, I think, achieves balance really well, actually, is Final Fantasy VII Remake and the upcoming Rebirth, which should be dropping actually midnight after we record this. But that's like a perfect blend of turn-based and real-time action RPG mechanics.
Right, because those games, it puts it into slow motion, right? And then it lets you pick of it's entirely real time action, and then puts you into slow motion. Another game that does that to really flip the coin is a game called Fallout 4.
Oh yeah,
I mean it technically is. You go into vats, everything's a third person. You pick a body part.
Yep.
Sort of turn based combat.
Yeah.
You could, but I love that. I mean, it is the perfect marriage between real time action, which everyone wants now,
right,
and that old school turn based. Because you're doing your turn based stuff like you always could, but now there's a little bit of pressure because time is still going.
Yeah,
just slow, so it never feels like the thing is like if in if Persona if they were attacking you as the shit was going on, I don't know, could be cool.
Yeah, and games like Persona and Yakuza are maintaining at least the turn-based structure, right? But making it feel more fluid and making it feel more in the action. Yeah,
right.
That's another one. Like the recent Like a Dragon games that have come out, and Infinite Wealth, which just dropped. And I actually want to give that a shot because that looks tight as hell.
It does look really tight. I've never played one of the because I think is that the second turn-based Yakuza they've made now. I think it is. Wasn't there another one?
So yeah,
Like
there's Like a Dragon,
yeah,
and then this is Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. I think those are the two new ones.
I've tried I played some of Yakuza 0.
Okay,
and that was pretty cool.
I've never played any Yakuza game.
Yeah, they definitely have a cool feel to them. But this new one especially looks just bonkers.
I really want to actually check it out. Actually, I feel like I should. There's a lot of fucking games that have come out lately that are just sucking up my time, man.
Yeah.
But that's why sometimes I'm happy I'm single. Actually,
right.
I have as much time as I want to fucking spend playing video games and shit, man.
Yep. It's crazy because I mean, I guess we might be coming up on a somewhat of a break here soon. But I mean, we have Final Fantasy coming out. Dragon's Dogma's not too far away.
Mm-hmm.
That game looks sick. I'm not sure what else all is coming out this year. I mean, we gotta hit a cliff at some point. I mean, last year was just full of games.
I know. I think the Paper Mario 1,000 Year Door remake is coming out this year. I'm excited for that, but I'm struggling to think of anything else that I'm really anticipating after Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
But 2023 was a fantastic year. 2024 has already had some bangers, like Persona 3 Reload. Like I mentioned before, if you honestly just go check it out. If you have Game Pass, you can literally play this for free and just try it out and see if it appeals to you. I guess we'll sort of get into our final thoughts here, starting with you, Sam.
Let me I did have a little list of pros and cons here. I think we've hit pretty much everything.
Yeah.
I mean, the general style of the UI and everything,
Oh, yeah.
Of course, if you've looked at any screenshot of Persona 5, you have somewhat of an idea of what you're getting into, but it's its own flavor in Persona 3, and it's all, super pretty to look at. Just the whole game is eye candy. I mean, it really is. It's just really, really nice to look at. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
The dialogue is really, pretty good. It's well written and everything. I haven't read a line. It's like, wow, that's cheesy as shit. It's it's all well written, good stuff. Anime fans are gonna like it, really.
And I think everything was rewritten basically. So
really, okay.
Like retranslated at least.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because I know sometimes I'll look up the answers that give me the social link points online, but if I accidentally pull up a Persona 3 original guide, the dialogue choices are a little bit different. Not only that, but it's usually easy to figure out like what corresponds to what. It's the same line. It's just translated differently. But then sometimes they've actually made some changes where some grant points where others don't.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that they even overhauled some of the social links entirely.
Wow.
Because I remember opening one up and being like, oh, wait, no, this is not this at all. They must have completely changed this whole social link.
Yeah, I mean, and it kind of makes sense to retranslate. I mean, I know translations in 2000, we would say 6 it came out, the first version.
2006.
I feel like they probably do it better today. Just a hunch.
Yeah. Also, I like the whole like 2000s aesthetic of this game because
It is really nice.
the calendar actually says 2009 on it, and all the characters are using flip phones, and like it's just like I grew up in that
Right.
era, so it's really nostalgic for me.
It's 100% nostalgic. Like this, this game does take place in like high school, but to me, this feels like elementary school, middle school era.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I think about when I see this some of the stuff they're doing.
Yeah, I was in high school in 2009, I think, either middle school or high school. So that sounds about right. I mean, as far as like the styles go, like the fashion and everything too.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is surprising considering it's a JRPG. You'd think the characters would feel a little bit more fantastic, but their designs feel pretty contemporary for the time.
Pretty much, yeah. There's nothing real outlandish. I mean, they are stylized. Like you look at a character and how their dress like speaks to that character. They designed them well, but yeah, there's nothing like crazy.
Right. Yeah. Anything else to add?
Yeah. Like I'll reiterate again. If you're not that into JRPGs, like me, honestly, it's worth checking out just to see what the buzz is about. Especially if you have watched anime. I mean, I don't know how many people out there like video games and like anime, but don't like JRPGs.
Right.
Like that was kind of me for a while. I mean, I don't know why. It's just to make that jump to JRPGs for a lot of people is a big leap. But this is a good one to start with, I would think.
Yeah.
Like it's not really crazy deep. Like a lot of JRPGs seem just like, wow, that's a lot.
It can be deep if you really want to get into it, but you don't have to. It's deep to master, but it's like easy to get into. Kind of like
Easy to learn, hard to
Pokemon.
master. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this game really, I compare it to Pokemon a lot. It's like if Pokemon like wasn't written for like 4-year-olds. That's basically what Persona sort of is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like a more mature. Yeah, really, man. It is, and it feels like a modern game. Yeah, JRPGs. I think the thing with them is that they're just tend to be very mechanical, and this game is, but it's accessible.
Very accessible.
Yeah. You can really just get into the combat system and not really have to worry too much about the deeper mechanics of it, unless you want to, and you want to build certain builds, and that's not to speak of like New Game Plus and how the game changes, on subsequent runs, so and higher difficulties.
Yeah, I'm sure just like Persona 5 is packed with all kinds of secrets. In Persona 5 you have to play through it like 3 times to get the real ending or something.
I don't know if it gives you a different ending, but to do everything, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because I feel like I got the ending of the game, but I don't know if there's some like extra secret cutscene. Then I don't know. Maybe I missed it.
Yeah, it is. Like I started playing this, and I even sitting here, I probably will not finish it. But even if you don't finish it, I would still recommend just checking it out. It might totally hook you, and you play all the way through it, or you might just play a little bit of it. Might play a little more of it,
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, as for me, as again somebody who got hooked into Persona 5 literally like this game sucked me in, sucked my time out. I played through the game despite the fact that it wasn't a game that we were doing on the podcast. This game very much has that same appeal. I would like to finish this, and it might be one of those rare exceptions of games that I actually finish. But then, like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is literally coming out tonight. It's so hard to keep up as a gamer. But I definitely recommend checking this out, and it's a fun game to play in bursts. Even you can take years to play it if you have to. Who cares? I mean, it's probably going to be years before the next Persona game comes out. So,
Yep.
of course, on my plate, I also have Persona 5 Tactica and Persona 5 Strikers, which are like spin-offs that occur in different genres. But if you really want to get the whole experience, and then I've never even touched Megami Tensei.
Megami Tensei really has me curious now. I mean, I know they have that latest one on Switch, which Persona 3 needs to be on Switch too, by the way.
Yeah. And Atlas is doing another game too that they announced at the Game Awards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it looked very Persona-esque.
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
It did look really good. I forget what the
But like
premise-
fantasy.
Isn't it it's like medieval fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they saw Fire Emblem. We were like, okay, y'all want to do it? Y'all want to play? Let's play.
And Fire Emblem Engage, another game I was excited for. Pre-ordered and everything, played a little bit of, and then I had to move on.
Right.
Metaphor Refantasio.
Yeah, not a great name, but the game does look good.
Man, that sounds like Kingdom Hearts shit all over again.
It really does sound like some Kingdom Hearts.
But yeah, I definitely recommend checking Persona 3 Reload out if you have the opportunity to do so. Again, if you have a PC or Xbox or on Game Pass, it's available. I bought the game on PS5, and I am not dissatisfied with my purchase. Easily $70 worth of content.
Oh, yeah. Much more.
So, it is worth the money, but it will eat up your time. You are gonna have to put time into this game. Expect a good 100 or 200 hours, for a standard playthrough. I mean, yeah, if you rush through it, you can do it in 60. But
the thing I saw said 60 hours if you rush it. If you take your time, normally you might get 80, probably more like 90.
Okay,
95.
so not even 100 then. Okay, because Persona 5 Royal took me 200 hours.
That's what I always thought was that Persona 5. Like, Persona 5 just seems like a bigger game overall. And it's probably longer in the general story, too. Like, this game came out on PlayStation 2, so it could only be so long, I guess, on a disc.
Right.
But, so it's probably, you could probably expect 90, 95 hours if you're not 100%ing it.
Yeah. And with the way that it's structured, though, with the calendar system, though, it's almost like in every playthrough you're gonna spend the same amount of time unless you're literally just skipping and not doing anything.
Yeah, which it really kind of disincentivizes you from doing.
But then, of course,
miss out on so much.
there's Tartarus, so
yeah.
It's kind of hard to say because how many hours are you gonna put into that to get through it? How quickly can you get through it, or how much time are you going to spend grinding? There's a lot of maneuverability, at least as far as that goes. But yeah, check it out, Persona 3 Reload. Again, if you have the opportunity, I would definitely give it a shot and try it, and see if you jive with it, and if you're willing to sink a lot of your time into it. But if you enjoyed this episode, please leave us feedback on your platform of choice, a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. You can also find us on Good Pods, and you can help us climb the ranks there. And we do have exclusive Let's Play video game commentaries out on our Patreon. So if you donate any amount of money, you can get access to those. Hopefully, I will have the opportunity to start recording those again. Check out Collateral Let's Play as well. Bo is actually handling those. We have those currently uploaded on the Collateral Cinema YouTube channel, and we'll be uploading those on the Collateral Gaming as well, since, it is gaming. That kind of makes sense. And I'll start uploading some Collateral Let's Plays as well, of just maybe whatever I'm playing on the podcast or Ace Attorney or whatever. As far as content goes, you can check out our 2-part anniversary special on Fable 1 and Fable 2. Look forward to that over the next few weeks, as well as The Witcher 3 Part 1 and Part 2. We should have Part 2 out as soon as possible. As mentioned previously, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth would love to do a Game Launch Edition episode on that as well. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, a lot of content to get through, certainly, over through the rest of our season. But Sam, man, thanks for being on the episode. It was great to have you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, try it out, guys. It's a great game.
Fuck yeah. Check out Collateral Cinema as well. That's our sister podcast where we talk movies. We should have our review out very soon on The Wraith, if it's not out already by the time of this episode's release, as well as our Mikeversary special on Happiness of the Katakuris. So thanks, guys, for listening, and you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Hit us up on social media as well, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you'd like, you can join our Facebook shitposting group, Collateral Media Podcasts. But with that all being said, I've been Ashley Chancellor.
And I'm Sam Jones.
This has been Collateral Gaming. We are out.
See ya.
What matters at the end is how you left them all. Fire in my soul, fire in my heart. Till you see you're the other side of stars.
Oh, the journey starts from where we do first step. No one's sure what lies ahead before them breath. Rose maybe, profit dies. The way we live somewhere.
Nothing easy, get up and go, get it go.
Sometimes this journey is about these chairs. Not about the destination, not over us. No matter how far, how you go, how long can you live? This road
Go get it, burn.
Collateral Gaming is a Collateral Media podcast. All music and game clips are owned by their respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.